My kids' passports disappeared 2 days before our $14,000 family vacation. My fiancée texted, "Honestly, the trip will be better without them." Then her daughter sent a photo. "Oops, I hid them. My bad." I replied, "Good." Then I secured the house before they got back. And when they returned, 2 days before our $14,000 family vacation to Greece, my kids' passports vanished. Not misplaced, not buried under couch cushions or tucked into the wrong travel folder. Vanished. I knew it the second I opened the fireproof document box in my home office and found the folder half open and empty. Birth certificates were there. Insurance cards were there. Boarding pass printouts were there. But the two blue passport booklets I had personally placed inside a week earlier, for Lily and Owen, were gone. At first, I did what every tired parent does when something impossible happens. I blamed myself. I checked the desk drawer, the kitchen junk drawer, my suitcase, the hall closet where we kept travel-sized toiletries, and those stupid neck pillows nobody actually liked. I went through my briefcase twice, even though I hadn't taken the passports anywhere. Then I checked the document box again, because sometimes desperation makes you hope reality will rearrange itself out of pity. Nothing. "Dad?" Lily called from upstairs. "Did you find my snorkeling shoes?" "Not yet," I shouted back, while my pulse started hammering hard enough to make my vision sharpen. My kids were 11 and 8. Lily, my daughter, was the kind of kid who color-coded her pencils and made packing lists for fun. Owen, my son, believed every vacation needed at least one cannonball contest and 2 desserts a day. This trip was supposed to be their first time out of the country. They'd been counting down for months, and now their passports were gone. I stood there in my office, staring at the empty box, and felt that cold, ugly intuition rise in my chest. The kind that arrives before proof, but after patterns. Because this wasn't just any vacation. This was the first big family trip since I got engaged to Vanessa. And by family, Vanessa had increasingly started to mean something very specific. Not my children. Me. Her daughter, Brielle. The three of us fit neatly into the version of life she liked to post online. Polished, attractive, adult. Add my children from my first marriage, and things got noisier, less curated, less centered on her. At the beginning, she had hidden that discomfort well. Vanessa was 34. Elegant in a way that looked effortless, and absolutely wasn't. Even in leggings and a sweatshirt, she somehow seemed assembled. I was 38, a sales representative for a luxury bathroom fixtures company that specialized in high-end toilets with orthopedic lids. Yes, that is a real sentence. Yes, people laughed when I first said it. They laughed less when I told them what I earned selling custom comfort tech toilets to surgeons, boutique hotels, athletes with back problems, and wealthy people who wanted their bathroom experience to feel like a private spa in Zurich. I was good at my job. Very good. I could walk into a showroom and convince a man to spend $6,000 on a toilet by talking about spine alignment, pressure distribution, seal acoustics, and imported ceramic finish. I sold dignity wrapped in absurdity, and I sold a lot of it. That money had built a comfortable life for my kids and me after my divorce from Rachel. Nothing flashy, but solid. A 5-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood. College savings, summer camps, a family room big enough for movie nights and blanket forts. Safety. Then Vanessa came in like a perfume ad with opinions. She worked in brand development for a wellness company and had a 15-year-old daughter, Brielle, whose personality could best be described as expensive boredom. Brielle always looked mildly insulted by ordinary life. If water came from a faucet, instead of glass infused with cucumber, she seemed personally attacked. At first, Vanessa insisted she loved how devoted I was as a father. "I've never dated a man who put his kids first," she told me once, sitting cross-legged on my couch, smiling like she was admiring something noble. It's attractive. Back then, I believed her, but admiration slowly curdled into irritation. She'd flinch when Owen interrupted adult conversations. She'd call Lily intense because my daughter asked direct questions. She'd suggest date nights on the exact weekends I had my kids. And then there were the little comments, the ones designed to sound reasonable if repeated out loud. Maybe the children would be happier with their mom for part of the summer. Couples need time to bond too. Brielle is at such a delicate age. She needs stability. Stability, in Vanessa's language, always meant priority. 6 months into our engagement, she started talking about Greece. She found the villa, private pool, sea view, chef options, white stone terrace, 4 bedrooms. She showed me pictures across the kitchen island, like she was revealing the future itself. It's perfect, she said. We deserve something beautiful. We'd need something kid-friendly, I said. It is kid-friendly. Mine too. She smiled, but it tightened at the corners. Of course. That, of course, had bothered me then. It bothers me even more in memory. I paid for almost all of it. Flights, villa deposit, excursions, rental van, travel insurance. Roughly $14,000. Vanessa contributed some restaurant reservations and spent a ridiculous amount on resort clothes for herself and Brielle. Whenever money came up, she became vague and romantic. Whenever I brought up budgets, she kissed me and changed the subject. But the week before the trip, the cracks widened. Vanessa complained that Lily and Owen drained the energy from planning conversations. Brielle openly asked if there would be any adult zones. Vanessa suggested twice that maybe my ex-wife Rachel would love extra time with the kids while we took a shorter adults first version of the trip. I shut that down both times. This trip is for all of us, I told her. Each time, she nodded too quickly. So standing in my office, staring at the missing passports, I already knew this wasn't random. I called Vanessa first. She didn't answer. I texted, "Did you move the kids' passports? They're missing." No response. I called again, straight to voicemail. Upstairs, Owen thundered down the hallway and launched himself halfway down the staircase, because normal stair use was apparently beneath him. "Dad, are we still doing the boat day in Greece? Maybe don't practice breaking your neck before the trip," I said automatically. He grinned. "So yes, still working on it, buddy." Lily appeared behind him, arms folded. "You look stressed." "Thanks," I said. Very comforting. She squinted at me. "Is this about the passports?" Sometimes, having smart kids felt like being audited by tiny detectives. "Go finish packing your swim stuff," I said. "I'm handling it." I called Vanessa a third time. This time she answered. "What?" She said, not hello, just what, with restaurant noise in the background. "Did you move Lily and Owen's passports?" A pause. Too short to be confusion, too long to be innocence. "No, they're not in the document box." "Well, I didn't take them." "Vanessa." "What? Terrence?" "I'm out with Brielle." That familiar little edge entered her voice, the one that implied any problem I noticed was an inconvenience I was inventing. "Those passports were in my office. Now they're gone. And you're calling me because you were in my office yesterday to print spa confirmations." Another pause. Then she sighed. "Honestly, this trip will be better without them." I went very still. Restaurant noise crackled through the phone. Silverware. Voices. Laughter from people whose lives had nothing to do with mine. "What did you just say?" "You heard me." I actually had to grip the desk. "Tell me you didn't do something insane. You're always so dramatic when it comes to the kids." "I'm saying what nobody else wants to say. We never get time to ourselves." Brielle notices it too. "She feels shoved aside in your house." "My house? You know what I mean." "No," I said, very quietly. "I don't think I do." She exhaled, impatient now that honesty had escaped its cage. "Terrence, every single thing revolves around Lily and Owen. Every dinner, every weekend, every plan. They are not babies. Rachel can take them. We could have had an actual romantic trip. By stealing their passports, I said I didn't take them." Then she hung up. I stared at my phone for a full 5 seconds before rage caught up with comprehension. Not hot rage. Cold. The kind that clarifies instead of blinding. A minute later, my phone buzzed again. Unknown to anyone but painfully obvious to me, teenage smugness has a digital signature. Brielle's text came through with a photo attached. The picture showed 2 passports hidden behind folded towels in the upstairs linen closet. Lily's on top, Owen's underneath. Under the photo, one sentence. "Oops, I hid them." My bad. I looked at the image and felt something inside me settle into place. Not shock, not pain, decision. I typed one word back. Good. That was all. Then I moved. First, I retrieved the passports from exactly where the photo showed they'd be. I put them back in the document box, locked it, and slid the box into my bedroom safe. Second, I called Rachel. Now, Rachel and I had not had the world's cleanest divorce, but we had something better than romance. Respect rebuilt the hard way. She picked up on the second ring. What happened? No hello. She knew my voice. The kids' passports disappeared. Vanessa and Brielle hid them to try to push Lily and Owen off the grease trip. Silence. Then, are the kids okay? Yes. Do they know? Not yet. Do you want me there? That hit me harder than expected. Rachel and I had failed each other in marriage in 100 small ways, but when it came to the children, she was still capable of being exactly where needed. Not yet, I said, but I may need backup. You have it. Third, I called the airline and moved Vanessa and Brielle's tickets off the main reservation. Not canceled, not yet. Just separated because I had a feeling I was going to need structural options. Fourth, I called the villa rental company and asked about guest authorization, access codes, and emergency contact changes. Then I changed all of them. The reservation was in my name. The payment was on my card. The smiling woman on the phone was extremely helpful once I explained there had been a family security issue. Fifth, I transferred 40% of the remaining joint wedding fund back into my personal account. Not all of it, just the portion I had contributed in the last 60 days and could legally document without drama. I also froze the card Vanessa used for household incidentals. If she wanted green juice and serum masks, she could suddenly discover the thrill of personal financing. Then I walked through my own house, room by room. By then, the kids knew something was wrong, because children always know. I sat them down in the family room. Lily immediately crossed her arms. It was Vanessa, wasn't it? Or Brielle, Owen added. Why is everyone in this house better at pattern recognition than adults? I muttered. Lily leaned forward. Dad. I took a breath. Brielle hid your passports. Vanessa knew enough that she said something ugly about the trip being better without you. Owen's face changed first. Kids don't hide hurt well. His mouth just fell open. Lily went still in that dangerous way she had when anger got organized. Are we still going? She asked. Yes, I said. You are absolutely still going. Without them? Lily asked. I looked at my daughter and for the first time all day, felt something close to pride edge out fury. Yes, I said. Without them. Owen blinked. Wait, really? Really? Can I tell them that was a terrible strategic move? Lily asked. Let's workshop the phrasing, I said. The next hour became logistics. I packed Vanessa's things first. Not cruelly, neatly. Clothes in suitcases. Cosmetics in travel bags. Shoes in garment boxes. Brielle's things went into 2 large plastic bins because I wasn't wasting my luggage on a girl who thought sabotage counted as personality. I changed the front door code. I changed the alarm code. I locked the liquor cabinet. Not because of Vanessa, but because I didn't trust Brielle not to break something vindictively. I removed Vanessa's fingerprint access from the smart system. I asked our neighbor, Mr. Keating, retired Marine and part-time guardian angel of the entire cul-de-sac, if he'd keep an eye out, because I expected some emotional turbulence around dinner time. He looked over my shoulder at the stacked luggage in the entryway and just said, "Want me to bring a chair?" "Yes," I said. "Thought so." Then I waited. They got back just after 7. Vanessa's SUV rolled into the driveway. Through the front window, I watched her laughing at something Brielle said. That laugh died the moment they saw their suitcases on the porch. Vanessa got out first. What is this? Brielle, phone already in hand, stopped dead when she saw me standing just inside the locked front door. I opened it, but only enough to stand in the frame. This, I said, is you moving out. Vanessa stared at me like I'd spoken another language. Are you serious? Completely? Because of some stupid misunderstanding? Behind me, Lily appeared on the staircase. Not close enough to be involved, but visible enough to witness. Owen stood 2 steps higher, clutching the banister. Vanessa saw them and straightened. Her tone changed instantly. All performance. Kids, this is just an adult disagreement. Don't, I said. She snapped back toward me. Excuse me? Do not try to play warm and maternal now. Not after today. Brielle scoffed. It was a joke. No, Lily said from the stairs, voice cool as glass. Jokes are funny. I glanced back at my daughter. She didn't look angry now. She looked done. On an 11-year-old, that was devastating. Vanessa pointed at her. See? This is exactly what I mean. Hostility. Constant hostility. You hid children's passports 2 days before an international trip, I said. You don't get to use the word hostility like you're filing a workplace complaint. I didn't hide anything, your daughter did, I almost said. But there was no need. Brielle had gifted me proof herself. Instead, I lifted my phone and showed Vanessa the image Brielle sent me. Her face changed. It wasn't guilt. That would have been almost humanizing. It was calculation collapsing. Brielle tried first. I literally said, my bad. My favorite part, I said, was your confidence. Vanessa turned on her daughter. Why would you send that? Because he kept accusing you, Brielle shot back. I thought if he knew it was me, then what? I asked. I'd admire the honesty, reward the sabotage. Vanessa pressed both hands to her temples. Terrence, you are blowing this out of proportion. I laughed once. It came out ugly. Out of proportion? You tried to exclude my children from a vacation I paid for, in a house I own, while planning a wedding I financed. That is not what happened. It's exactly what happened. No, she said, eyes flashing now that the mask was gone. What happened is that I am tired of being fourth place in your life. I stared at her. Fourth? Yes. Your kids. Your ex-wife. Your job. My ex-wife. I repeated. Yes. Because every decision still revolves around the mother of your children and the children themselves. And frankly, it's exhausting. That sentence told me everything I needed to know. Not just about the passports. About all of it. She had never wanted a blended family. She wanted acquisition with minimal pre-existing attachments. She wanted me as provider, house, lifestyle, ring. She wanted my children edited out of the frame. You should leave, I said. Vanessa took 1 step toward the door. I live here. Not anymore. You can't just throw us out. I can remove access from a home solely in my name after discovering deliberate interference with my children's travel documents and receiving written proof. That's what I've done. Her eyes widened. You talked to a lawyer? I hadn't. Not yet. But I appreciated the idea and the fear it triggered. I talked to enough people. At that exact moment, as if summoned by dramatic timing itself, Mr. Keating unfolded his lawn chair by the hedge across the walkway and sat down with a thermos. Vanessa looked over in disbelief. Are the neighbors seriously watching this? Only the invested ones, I said. Brielle muttered, this is insane. No, Lily said again from the stairs. Hiding passports was insane. Vanessa turned toward the kids, desperation replacing anger. Lily, sweetheart, I would never actually keep you from a trip. This got out of hand. Stop calling me sweetheart, Lily said. That one landed. Owen spoke next, small but clear. Did you really want us not to go? Vanessa opened her mouth. And that was the problem. She opened her mouth at all. Because if there had been any real innocence, any actual love for the children, the answer would have come out instantly and tenderly. But she hesitated, searching for the least damaging arrangement of words. Owen saw that. Children always do. His face crumpled before he looked away. That was it for me. We're done here, I said. Your hotel is booked for tonight. Vanessa blinked. My what? I reserved 2 rooms at the Hampton on Ridgeway, paid through tomorrow checkout. After that, you figure it out. You booked us a hotel? Yes. Brielle gave a sharp laugh. Wow, so noble. I met her gaze. You should be very careful confusing mercy with weakness. Vanessa's voice dropped. You would humiliate us like this over one mistake? I looked at the porch full of luggage, at the woman who had smiled while planning to erase my children from a family memory. at her daughter who had treated their pain like content. Then I answered honestly, no. I'm humiliating you over a pattern. Today was just the first time you got sloppy enough to document it. For a second, nobody moved. Then Vanessa lunged, not at me, but toward the doorframe, trying to force her way in. I shut the door hard enough that she had to step back. Don't, I said through the glass. You're on camera. That was true too. When I'd secured the house, I had turned on every exterior camera and motion alert. Her phone buzzed. Mine did too. A second later. Rachel? Need me. I typed back. Handled. For now. Outside, Vanessa stood on my porch in the kind of silence that only comes after someone realizes the old leverage is gone. No pleading worked, no charm, no authority, no access. Finally, she hissed. The trip is ruined. I opened the door just enough for one last sentence. No, I said. It just got saved. Then I shut it and locked it. They stayed on the porch another 10 minutes, arguing in low, vicious bursts. Brielle cried first, though even that sounded offended more than sorry. Eventually, they hauled their bags back to the SUV and drove away. Mr. Keating raised his thermos toward the house, like a soldier saluting a victory he respected. I nodded back. Inside, the kids and I stood in the sudden quiet. Owen looked up at me. Are you okay? That almost broke me. Because that's what children do. Adults fail them, and they still ask if you're okay. I knelt in front of them. I'm angry and embarrassed that I didn't see enough soon enough. But I'm okay. Lily studied me. Are you still marrying her? No. She exhaled, a full body release, and for the first time all night looked like a child again. Good, she said. I laughed then. Really laughed. That seems to be the family word today. Rachel came over an hour later anyway, carrying ice cream and the calm presence of somebody who had earned her place in our life the hard way. The kids told her everything at once. She listened without interrupting, then hugged them until Owen's shoulders stopped being so tight. At one point, she looked at me over their heads and said quietly, "You did the right thing." For the first time since finding the empty document box, I believed it. The next day was brutal in all the predictable ways. Vanessa sent paragraphs, then voice notes, then accusations. I had overreacted. I had traumatized Brielle. I had weaponized housing. I had chosen my ex-wife over my future. That last one was especially revealing, as though the mother of my children being consulted during a crisis involving our children was somehow a betrayal. I responded only once. Do not contact Lily or Owen. Return the ring through my attorney or certified courier. Any remaining property can be collected Saturday from the garage between 10 and 12. I didn't have an attorney yet when I sent that. I had one by noon. The ring came back 3 days later in a padded envelope with no note. Brielle posted something vague and dramatic online about narcissistic men who weaponize family roles. Unfortunately for her, teenagers are terrible strategists, and she'd already sent incriminating texts to exactly the wrong adult. I never engaged publicly. I didn't need to. Truth did enough. And then, because my children deserved more than aftermath, we went to Greece. Just the three of us. Rachel encouraged it. Genuinely. They've earned that memory, she said. So have you. It was one of the best weeks of my life. Lily stood on the villa terrace the first morning, wind lifting her hair, and whispered, "It looks fake." Owen cannonballed into the pool before I finished sunscreening one shoulder. We took the boat day. We ate octopus and fries and too much lemon cake. Lily made friends with the museum guide and asked so many questions about mythology that I tipped double out of gratitude and apology. Owen announced to 3 different waiters that his dad sold luxury toilets for a living. And every single time, I had to explain the orthopedic lid concept to fascinated strangers. One older British man at our hotel bar nearly choked laughing, and then asked for my card because his wife had hip pain and, good God, man, this may be exactly what our downstairs loo needs. Even in Greece, apparently, the orthopedic toilet market waited for no one. On the 4th night, after the kids went to sleep, I sat alone on the terrace, looking at the water turning black under the moon. And I thought about how close I had come to marrying someone who saw my children as obstacles to manage rather than hearts to protect. That was the part that stayed with me most. Not the missing passports, not the texts, not even the porch showdown. It was the hesitation when Owen asked her if she really wanted them not to go. That tiny pause. A whole future died inside it. When we came home, the house felt different, cleaner, though nothing visible had changed, except a few fewer scented candles and one less designer robe in the bathroom. I sold the spare wedding decor Vanessa had ordered, with my card, and put the money into the kids' college funds. Lily approved of the reallocations. Owen wanted to know if failed engagements qualified him for extra dessert. On balance, I said yes. A month later, Mr. Keating handed me a six-pack over the fence and said, "Proud of how you handled that. By changing door codes and booking hotel rooms, by choosing your kids when it cost you something." That stuck. Because that was the whole thing, really. Anybody can be loyal when it's cheap. The real measure comes when love demands disruption. And if there's any moral to what happened, maybe it's this. Anyone who asks you to make your children smaller so they can feel bigger is not building a family with you. They're building a throne. I almost helped someone furnish one. Instead, I locked the door. And when they returned, they found out the house was secure, the children were staying, and the man they thought they could manipulate had finally learned the difference between peace and surrender. My name is Terrence. I sell very expensive toilets with orthopedic lids. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I also know comfort should never come at the expense of support. That applies in bathrooms, and, as it turns out, in families too.